and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come again, as my spirit's guiding me to a place where
And welcome to Soul Chat. I am Jane McGuire.
I'm Elena Risto.
Yay!
It was easy. I just kind of spit it out there.
You did.
It's a good thing you didn't see me about 2 hours ago. I didn't know where to stand. I didn't know what was coming out of my mouth.
Well, speaking of 2 hours ago, why don't you tell everybody what you were doing?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm in rehearsal for a Christmas show on Las Vegas Boulevard at the Viva Las Vegas Event Center.
Sounds like Liberace.
It is. It's Christmas with Liberace, and I'm one of the professional singers in it.
Wonderful.
And have a couple of spots where I get to sing, and I actually get to move and sing at the same time.
Oh, see? So you must...
And at one point, I thought, this feels totally wrong, and it's because I totally moved wrong, and it was on the opposite side of the stage that I was supposed to be.
Oops.
And then one of the guys looked at me and said, I don't remember you here before. I said, yeah, okay. No. So that's going to happen on December 6th and December 18th, and I'll actually put some things on Facebook.
Okay, and then
So you
we
guys
have
can
our
see.
Soul Chat page on Facebook that you can like also, and then we are in the process of creating a Soul Chat YouTube.
Our
So
own YouTube
that should be
place.
coming
So
up
it'd be
fairly
easy to see all of the
Yeah.
old, because I just talked to someone that I've worked with who
Mhm.
said they've watched them all and they really like it, and they like it when we put it on that, but we need to make it available for everybody that
Mhm.
isn't on Facebook,
Yes.
so that they can get on there.
Yes.
So if you are interested in a YouTube channel or something, you can email us, you can call us. We'll give you information
Mhm.
at the end.
Well, today I went down to our local Clark County licensing, and I won't
You look a little frazzled.
I won't detail the whole frazzled story, but I will say that I am switched over my psychic arts license.
And now you are at...
And now I am at Karma Connections, a new metaphysical store in Las Vegas on Rainbow and Warm Springs in the Albertson Shopping Center right next to Money Tree.
Oh, that's a good sign.
It's a great sign.
Yeah.
And on the other side is a tanning place. So actually the tanning place is very
Yeah,
supportive.
it'd be nice to look out the window once in a while, maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm there, and then I switched over my drugless health to where I live now. And actually, I should put this out there to all the local people here in Clark County. Double check with Clark County Licensing about your drugless health practitioner's license. It seems that if you do energy work, they may have put you in the reflexology category, which means you need to undergo a background check to make sure that you're okay to do this. But if you're like me or Elena and you do energy work, they put you in that category, and it's a big mistake.
Yeah,
So
it is.
check with, you actually have to call and make an appointment. You can't just walk in. So to all the drugless health practitioners in Clark County, check with licensing. If you got a letter in the mail, don't panic. Somebody put all of the energy workers in the reflexology category.
And the only reason you knew about it is because I told you, right?
Right, because
And
actually,
I didn't get a letter in the mail.
And when I went down to check on this, Clark County had actually had my drugless health as out of business. So
Oh God, that means I'm out of business.
so well that and
Are they going to
that's-
give me a refund?
They won't. They won't.
Oh,
but
buggers.
so double check. So that was my experience last week with licensing and this week. So I am licensed. I am at Karmic Connections on Rainbow and Warm Springs. I do telephone readings, in-person readings, and pranic healing. And we are also, and I'm just going to surprise you with this right now. Tracy and I, the
Me?
owner.
You're surprising
I'm
me?
surprising you with this.
Oh, I
Tracy
don't
and
know if
I
my
are talking
fragile
about.
state can handle it.
Yes, it can. Tracy and I are talking about you doing a winter solstice drumming circle or some sort of ceremony at
celebration,
Karmic
that'd be good.
Connections.
Yep.
So to do a drum circle, to do all kinds of that, I'm probably going to start up my pranic healing meditations there. Again, it's been a while since I've done them publicly.
Okay.
So this is, and she's all about events and marketing. I have to say that some of the ideas that I've given to prior businesses where I've worked, she's actually very receptive to them. She's creating Christmas baskets. So if you have to want to give somebody a basket that has all protection stuff in it, she's already made it up. If you want to give a basket that has all the meditation stuff in it, she's made that up.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, so she's doing different baskets.
That's a great little store too.
It is
We
a
were in there.
wonderful
Yeah.
little store, very, very, very open, and there's all different kinds of things that you can buy. And if it's not in the store, she will order it for you, unlike other places that I've
Wow,
worked.
customer
Yeah.
service.
I know. Imagine customer service from a small place. So we have Black Friday coming up, and I'm going to be working on Black Friday.
When
So
is that?
It's after Thursday.
Does that mean it's this Friday?
No, Black Friday.
Oh, that's the
is
day after
the
Thanksgiving.
day after Thanksgiving.
I haven't even.
Right.
I haven't made it there yet.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to promote Small Business Saturday.
Okay.
So that's on Saturday. So support
Small
your
business
small
Black
business-
Saturday.
Small. Well, that would be great. I would love a Small Business Black Saturday. So support your small business. Support Vibrant Life Holistic Healing. Support Shamanic Song.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want to give somebody
And
a-
buy Christmas tickets to Christmas with Liberace.
right, or gift
Yeah.
certificates for a pranic healing session,
Yep.
which can be done distantly, or a reading, which can also be done distantly over the phone.
Sound healing.
Sound
I can
healing.
do sound healing.
Yeah.
Well, we can just have a lot of fun with
Yeah.
this, huh?
So this is going to be a fun place to market. She gives out information, and like you said, good customer service. She will sit and talk to you about something one-on-one until you've gotten the information that
Oh,
you
that's
need.
great. That's
so
great.
this is Tracy Kramer. I also want to give a shout out to Cheyenne Foster. She is out of the hospital.
Oh, good. Have you talked to her?
I've followed her Facebook. She has 3 more surgeries to go.
Wow.
but, yeah.
That's quite a fall.
It is. It was, yes. But she's getting better. She's, in the recovery process, so she's at home. So here, those of us here at Sound Chat, you and me and George, of course, we wish Cheyenne healing
Yeah, absolutely.
and
absolutely.
a total recovery. And her website is Synergy Holistic Health, and that is all about using nutrition and herbs and all that
Now,
neat stuff.
she's not well enough to do anything right now.
She
though,
can
is
do the telephone consultations and the
Okay.
nutrition.
Okay.
But you and I, being experienced energy workers, we know that there's no way she could do Reiki on
No,
anybody
no,
right
no,
now.
no.
That
No,
would
no,
not
no.
work.
Mm-mm.
So she can do the telephone and email consultations.
Right.
But pretty much I would limit it to that. And she's really good at standing her ground as far as what she can and can't do.
So this past week, what you did is you went down and had a date with
With
Clark
li-
County
that
Licensing
was-
here in
and
Nevada, right?
Last week and today, and then of course last week was Veterans Day.
And what did you learn?
I learned that there are so many loopholes
What did you
In-
learn about yourself?
in that you can work with 2 different people at licensing and get 2 completely different stories and
And did you lose it?
no, I actually stayed patient, which is a great
Wow.
segue into our topic for today.
Right.
I stayed really patient, and one of the things that or our topic for today is empathy and sympathy, and is this a gift, and how is it involved in your life, and how is it involved in your social skills and your interactions with people? And I found a great definition, which I want to read on air, so pardon me while I get my cell phone out. This is from improveyoursocialskills.com. This is the best definition I
I
found.
should sign up for that.
Improve your social skills. What have you done to improve your social skills this week?
Oh, let's see. Well, I've been interacting with a lot of entertainers.
Which is probably something you haven't
Yeah,
done
but
in a
I don't know
long
how
time.
which I don't know how many social skills you can improve because we're always entertainers. I
Right.
mean, we're always,
Right. Right. I don't know. But here's the definition. Empathy is the art of seeing the world as someone else sees it. When you have empathy, it means you understand what a person is feeling in a given moment and understand why other people's actions made sense to them. Empathy also helps us to communicate our ideas in a way that makes sense to others, and it helps us understand others when they communicate with us. It is one of the foundational building blocks of great social interactions and quite obviously powerful stuff. So it is not just an intuitive gift.
no, it is not.
And-
You can
and-
be empathetic. You can
Yeah.
have and if anybody got any text from me or they saw our Soul Chat Facebook page, we put up there, what is the difference between sympathy and empathy?
Well,
That's kind
yeah,
of the
yeah.
easiest. That's the easiest place to start.
Right.
You know, someone who, let's say my mother passed away, which she's actually in the process of doing
Right.
that, and you have both parents living.
That's sympathy.
Well, maybe it depends. If you can hook into that piece of yourself where you're grieving, where you've grieved, you can have empathy for losing a parent to an extent,
Right.
even by grieving over if you've lost a pet and you were very attached to it.
Right.
You've experienced grief, so you can have empathy about grief.
Yes.
Can you have empathy about losing a parent if you haven't?
I don't think so.
Not in its entirety. But sympathy, I think sympathy gets a bad rap sometimes because people are saying, oh, you're not sympathetic, you need to be empathetic. But sympathy, there's a place for it. I mean, if I
Yeah.
said, gee, my mom passed away, and you went, oh, too bad.
Well,
That's not very sympathetic.
No, that's not sympathetic.
It's not empathetic at all, and
right.
it's not very sympathetic.
Right, and
so.
I have both of my parents have passed away, and I understand there's a huge difference when you still have one parent alive.
Yes.
And both. When my father died, he was the second to go.
There's something that
very
happens. I've
final.
been feeling it
Yes.
this last week
Yes.
more, and I realized, this is what I learned last week, is that I realized that the situations between my mother and I was growing, and as I was growing up. I'm starting to see things that are happening around me that happened way back when, and
Yeah.
it's helped me revisit those things. I've gotten a new appreciation for her. Everything that I thought that I had let go of, I found a couple of little things that maybe weren't forgiving her, but I needed to forgive myself.
And I went through that exact process when my mom died. So there were a lot of things that I needed to forgive her for, and I did it years later, and there were things that I had suppressed for a long time. But when my father died, I was able to tell him before he died,
Right.
I love you, and I don't blame you for anything. And he blamed himself for me getting epilepsy, and I told him that was never my thought pattern.
Right.
But I was able to tell him that he was a good father. But there is something definitely final about that
Yes.
second parent going.
And my mother and I have not had a lot of connection in a real time situation for the last several years.
Well, but then
So-
she's also been ill for a while.
Yeah,
too.
she's had dementia. She's
Right.
96.
Well,
I mean,
and
the
she gets to
aging
do that at
process.
96.
She does.
Yeah.
She can do it any way she wants,
Right.
But the point is there hasn't been an ongoing connection between
Right.
us that's real time very much in the last several years. So the energetic effect is still there.
Right.
So and I kind of want to leave this right there because we've got somebody on hold.
We do have somebody on
Yeah.
hold, a published author.
Yeah, and
Right.
she's a friend of mine from years ago.
Right.
We went to high school together,
Wow,
and we've
yeah.
reconnected. What do you mean? Whoa! Now that wasn't empathy or sympathy. That was something else right there. I'm telling
High
you.
school friends. I only
Yeah.
have two high school friends on my.
Oh
on
no,
my
I've got several that I stay
Yeah.
in touch with. We've kind of grown along with each
Yeah.
other, But anyway, she's someone, and she does energy work. I'll let her
Oh,
talk.
wonderful.
We'll ask her more about it. But she's written a book that's coming out. She said in January.
January.
Right?
So we'd like to welcome Diane Berry to Soul Chat. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you very much.
So tell us about your book, because it fits today's topic perfectly.
It does. It does.
And it also tells me
mm.
somebody's reading what I send out.
I'm in the process of finishing it up. I also teach a experiential workshop called Embracing the Gifts of Empathy. So I'm fairly familiar with this topic in a lot of very personal aspects. And I was doing some reading recently that the author commented that in brain science they have actually been able to identify the areas in the brain that are responsible for empathy, and that 98% of the population has these.
Isn't
So
that the
everybody-
hypothalamus?
I'd have to look it up. I don't have the book in front of me.
It's funny you mentioned that, because today I was totally guided to pick up a magazine on how the brain works.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think the hypothalamus is part of that, but there are specific areas of the brain. I think there's more than one.
Yeah, very, very specific areas of the brain. But there are also about 20% of those people that have a much higher ability with empathy and don't have. You were talking in the first about empathy being able to understand what other people are going through.
To a degree, depending the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There are some people that can't help themselves from putting themselves in other people's shoes until they learn how, until they learn that they actually have a choice. And a lot of times they won't even know that they're doing it, and that a lot of the stuff they're picking up isn't even their own. So that's what my class is about. It's to help those people figure out how to control and deal with all of this information that comes in that isn't even theirs.
And there are people that will say, people that are empathic, that will say it is both a blessing and a curse. That seems to be one of the common phrases attached to the gift of empathy.
Yeah. Well, and it's definitely that way. If you can become skilled, it becomes much, much more of a blessing, because then you are able to control when you are, when you are connecting and when you're not, which makes a huge difference. And you can choose not to.
Exactly.
And that's
another.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, it's huge. And also, part of it is learning how to let go of other people's stuff, even when you don't know you've picked it up.
Well, part of it, I think, back up a little bit, I think part of it is the awareness of realizing that you're picking up other people's stuff. A lot of people don't have that awareness. My late father-in-law, for example, if we told him about some cold that was going around, 3 days later he developed it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this goes into people going to the doctor for every single ache and pain, and the doctor thinking they're a hypochondriac.
Right. They pat you on the head and say, we know you're in pain, but we can't find anything that's actually wrong. Which makes you feel like an absolute idiot.
Right.
And I think a good example of noticing, and everybody has empathy, like you said, and like you said, Diane, it's like what you said, like 98% have the ability to do that. We've all had the experience where we walk through a door, we'll walk into a room that's full of people, and we can pick up where's a good place to stand, who's good to stand next to, if there's somebody that you get a bad vibe from, a lot of cliche sayings that kick in there. Everybody has this ability. The problem is that if you don't know, and I work with people, in fact, I've got a woman right now that I'm working with, if you don't realize that and you believe it's yours, there all kinds of things can happen. You can start building beliefs around that. You can do self-judgment on yourself. And I don't think people understand we are social creatures. We do need to have interaction. But if you're an empathetic person, sometimes people that isolate, and I'm one of them, some people that isolate, it's because it's too messy out there.
Well,
it's very hard to keep yourself calm.
And there was a time years ago, before I became a professional psychic, when I was definitely more empathic than I realized. I could not go food shopping. I would walk into the store, and it didn't matter what store. I would walk in, I would feel everybody's anger. I would feel their sadness. I would feel their stress. There's one time I went into Albertsons on West Cheyenne, filled up my cart. I got so overwhelmed, I left my cart and walked out of the store. Went home.
That doesn't explain my not shopping gene.
Well, I was married at the time, had my kids. I was doing the mom thing. But it was, I literally, and I can understand why people might be agoraphobic or afraid to come out, because they don't want to feel all this stuff.
Well, and the famous cocktail party. That's miserable. Because everybody's intention to be there is so, not everybody.
Right.
You can't make it an absolute, but those situations tend to be about party, or you're there for business, and maybe you're there for business and you're going because you have to, not because you want to. And
right. Or maybe you're picking up a man or a woman that night, or you're
or something. Who knows what's going on
there to get
there,
free food.
Right. So
one
go ahead.
of the other things that a lot of people don't recognize is there are a lot of different aspects to empathy.
Right.
You can be empathic with feeling people's emotions. Like you said, you're picking up on their anger,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but you can also be empathic with their how they're feeling physically.
Yes.
Yes.
And I used to view
Um,
that part of it as a curse, but I actually use that part now when I'm doing pranic healing on someone. I will
Yes.
feel it in my body first, and I will know that it's immediately know that it's not mine. And so
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll tell them, "Oh, are you having this pain here?" And they're usually amazed that I can pick up on that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what? So what
Yeah,
other?
It's a real gift.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
other? What other
you're
parts?
moving.
What are the other parts to empathy, Diane?
Instead of actually feeling it physically, you can switch that over so you feel it intuitively, so that you know where it's at, but you don't have to actually feel it.
Yep.
Do you have
and
an
then-
exercise? Do you have an exercise for that?
Not for doing this. Well, in my class, I will show you how to do that. But there's a lot of setup to be able
Okay.
to switch that over.
I can give, since we're at that. That's why I'm bringing this up. I was thinking about this today. There is a process that I learned when I was studying emotional awareness that has helped me a lot. I don't know that if the intention was about developing empathy, but I noticed this right away when I was doing the process. If you have a reaction to someone, okay, let's say you feel, a little angry, okay. Well, typically anger can be your own, but if you're picking up somebody else's, you can be angry yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's
Right.
knowing whose anger is this really. And one way to do
Right.
this is real easy. One way to do this is to close your eyes and start at the crown of your head and start working down and finding where is there any place in this anger, where does it live? Where is it in my body? Is it in my chest? Is it in whatever? If you don't find anything, if there isn't any physical reaction to it, there's a good chance it's not yours.
Right.
It's not yours.
And,
It's not yours.
And
Yeah.
what we do in pranic healing is the first thing any pranic healer should do is cut cords. I mean, you've heard me say this for years.
Yeah.
But it's also about different techniques of cutting other people's energy out of your own. And knowing how to do that on a regular basis. I hear all the time from various people, I walk into work and I'm instantly angry. Or I walk by Susie Q and I just want to cry. And a lot of this, like you said, both of you actually, this has to do with the emotional health. If you have your own emotional issues that you're working on, your aura, your auric field, and your chakras aren't going to be spinning the way they need to be spinning. And there's going to be, and you've done this work on me,
Right.
there's going to be a hole in the auric field or whatever where this energy
Right.
can get in and get settled.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So that's one way somebody can tell. If you have a physical reaction in your body that goes along with anger, and I find for me, I've done this work enough now that if I'm angry at somebody and if I check my body to see where is that, and it's coming out of my solar plexus,
Solar plexus, yeah.
for me, not for everybody, but for me, it's a control issue. I'm feeling out of control. That's what my body
yeah.
is telling me.
Okay.
See, it's not,
Okay.
there isn't a hard and fast rule.
Right.
Everybody has different
Yeah.
reactions to different things. So that's one of the things
Right,
I
yeah.
did want to share today, because there is a way to tell.
Right.
And if you have nothing,
Yeah.
but you're angry, it's like, well, where is this coming from? It's possible you've just picked it up from somebody else.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Right.
one of the
Yeah.
questions I get a lot is, well, could it be my friend? It could be the guy walking down the street.
Yeah.
It could be the cashier at Walmart. It could be the nurse in the
Right.
doctor's office. It doesn't have to be anybody you know.
Now, what we do shamanically, one of the things we can do shamanically is and Jane has done this along with several other people that I've been working with, is what we call the bone dance.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. I highly recommend the bone dance.
Yeah. And it's energetically, people are thinking, oh my God, I got to do some weird dance. And
Right.
that isn't necessarily what happens, but what you're really doing is asking spirit to take you down to bone, take you completely apart, and put you back together. And I've had people's physical symptoms relieved, and they feel a lot better afterwards. And so there are many practices. Is there a practice that you teach, Diane?
Oh, I love the bone dance. I've used that several times
Yep.
since she taught that to me.
Yeah.
But with me, I actually have a technique where I have the people sit, calm themselves, close their eyes, and we can try this now if you would like.
Sure.
With whoever's listening, they're welcome to do this. But basically, take a deep breath and then yawn and stretch, which puts you into that alpha frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So yawn really, really big and stretch. And then say to yourself, out loud if you can, all that is not mine, leave me now.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
I like that.
That is good.
Aren't you the one that I think you tried to tell me, I told you, but I didn't tell you this, that when animals do it, dogs, they
Oh, yeah,
shake
you
it
did.
off.
You're right. No, you did tell me that.
I told you that?
You did.
What state was
So
I
wisdom. You were in a state of wisdom.
in? Oh, was I?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for
And
that.
Doreen Virtue has a technique too that she promotes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to visualize the angels. And she usually tells people to call on Archangel Michael, but I find you can just call on your regular guardian angel too.
I call on him so much, sometimes
I know,
he looks
you
at me
just
and goes...
direct line there.
Yeah, and when because of the work I do, I call on him so much, and sometimes I'll go to him and I say, "Do you want?" And he'll just shake his head. It's like,
Yeah.
"No, you can deal with this."
Right. I'm too busy at the moment.
I'm busy.
So what she recommends is to have people visualize their guardian angel or Archangel Michael using a vacuum, and to vacuum out
Oh,
the energy,
Mhm.
and to just take that small hose. For me, it would be one of those big ones. You know,
Yeah.
would make Hoover look like small potatoes, but to just vacuum out all of that stuff, and so that's one of the techniques that she uses. And then in dealing with empathy and sympathy, compassion obviously plays a part.
Right.
In that, like you were saying earlier, but it's also about knowing your own energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Self-healing.
Self-healing. And I feel the best when I pray and I meditate, and I feel connected to peace all day. So if I'm not feeling peaceful, I know one of two things. It's either me or it's not.
I like pounding on a drum myself.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The
Yeah.
drum circles that
Or
that
singing.
you've done with the vets.
It's very hard to sing and not be in the moment.
But the thing is, though, you have, when you do that, you have them go into something that makes them angry,
Mhm.
and then they pound it out.
Mhm.
And then you have them go into something that makes them really happy and pound that out.
Yeah, let the drum talk.
Yeah,
That's what I
let
do
the
is tell
drum
them,
talk.
let the drum talk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I always do it in that order, if you've noticed.
Because the happy has to come second.
Well, and
Yeah.
there's that thing about releasing. Sometimes you have to release something before something else can
Right.
come in.
Right.
So, whatever
Right.
that might be.
Right.
So, Diane, I'm curious, what, because the last time I saw you, I don't think you told me about this book.
no.
When did you, what led you
it's
to
a-
this?
I put together the workshop that I teach.
Which
on
is called?
Embracing the Gifts of Empathy. Embracing the Gifts of Empathy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I have been teaching that for the last year and a half or 2 years, and this is kind of an offshoot of that. Be able to get this out to more people so that they can recognize it. I want to get back into the grocery store, like Jane was talking about earlier.
Right.
If you are an empathic person that has a lot of affinity for plants,
Yeah.
the produce section of the grocery store can make you very upset. And if you don't know that, you're picking up things from the plants, the vegetables, and the fruits and stuff that are in there.
Okay, now explain this to me again.
Okay,
If you have
that's interesting.
empathy for plants, oh, I get it. So if you have empathy for
empathy is
plants, is they don't
actually-
want to be laying there.
Well, they don't want to be laying there, or depending on how they were grown, or you'll be able to feel what life force they have in them,
That makes sense.
how they've been treated.
Yeah.
I have a
Actually, as I deal with it, is being able to take your consciousness and put it in something else.
and how do you do that?
It is, well, part of it is a gift, but it's like taking your awareness and just melding it or connecting with something else.
I'd probably
Yeah,
run to the
doesn't
bakery.
be a
Focusing on
person.
something else, and that's what this person on this other website was saying, that to develop the empathy and the compassion, it is being mindful
Right.
of
In the
what-
moment.
in the moment of what people are saying. I think I posted something on my wall earlier in the week that most people don't listen completely, they listen to reply. I
Oh
posted
yeah, I
something
saw that.
along
I
that.
thought that was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I could
They
think
don't
of a
listen to understand.
Right, right. They listen to
Yeah.
reply. So
Yeah.
this is why
Mhm.
empathy also is a social skill.
yeah,
Yes,
that makes
definitely.
sense.
Mhm.
But I am curious. I want to know what started. What you started because you taught this class for a year and a half, and had you ever written a book before?
I have written a lot of fiction, or I have written some fiction and short stories.
Oh, so that's
and
where
then
that was your training ground for writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I've done the manuals for both of the classes that I produced and teach.
So where do people get your book? Let's give you a plug here, website and all that neat stuff.
It I will post when it's ready. I will post it on my website, which is DianeBerry.com. Diane is 2 N's and an E. Berry like raspberry.
Okay. And I would also
And-
invite you to post this on our Soul Chat page
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we would invite you because I know
Yeah.
you've liked our Facebook
She's
page.
been a very good supporter
Yeah.
of Soul Chat. So please, we'll take this opportunity to cross promote and post
Okay.
it on there because that would be wonderful. We'd like the people on the Soul Chat page actually to be more interactive with us and let us know what kind of topics you want to know about as far as alternative healing or all the other stuff that we could possibly cover.
Right. Yeah, because this is so wide open.
Yeah.
So you said it's coming out in January.
Yes.
So this is a good Valentine's Day present. Let's mark
Here,
that.
happy empathy.
But like
right.
we said, empathy goes with compassion. And I think in this
It does.
lifetime, spirit or God or angels, whatever you want to call it, is going to train you in compassion. I know for me, it was being a tip volunteer was my training.
Mm.
And so I think we're given those opportunities to be able to develop that compassion and the empathy because they definitely go hand in hand.
Hmm. Yes, they do.
So here's an interesting thought, or not.
I'll be empathic there.
Okay,
thank you.
okay. So can you have empathy without intuition, and can you have intuition without empathy?
I don't think so. I think you're going to have the empathy. People will come up and say, "Oh, I just don't trust that person. Something doesn't feel right." That's intuition. And I think they can. I think they're connected. I really, really do. Because what is the universe? It's love.
Now, see, I have met some very intuitive people that I don't think are very empathetic.
Well, because obviously it's not a skill that they've developed yet.
George, I finally got a rise out of
Right,
George over here.
Right, but it's
he
not
knows
a
what
s-
I'm talking about,
It's not
right?
a skill that right. We had somebody on our show, a couple of that was that way.
Okay. Well, moving forward. Yeah. What about you, Diane? What do you think about that? Can you have one without the other?
Intuition is in the sixth sense category,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
so it's an aspect of those six senses.
I would.
And I think empathy is like that too. Just because you are intuitive doesn't mean you're clairaudient.
Right. And I
So
think
they're different,
and
but they're in that grouping. And I empathy is a different skill set, and I think everybody has it to some degree. They have different aspects. Someone who is very empathic with animals may not be empathic with people, or may not be
I think that's a good point.
yes,
I think that's a very good point.
physically empathic.
my oldest
they
daughter's
can be-
empathic with animals.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Or emotionally empathic.
Yep.
Someone who loves stones, minerals, rocks. You can be empathic with them,
Mhm. Yep.
and it's very interesting. But they may not be, may not be able to connect with animals in the same way.
And I had that experience locally here years ago where I was going into the rock and mineral store, which is kind of a playground for me. And for a while,
Yeah.
because so many, I'm one of those rock people. And
She is. I'm driving through Zion, and she's texting me saying, "There's these great stores and whatever. Make sure you go around there." And it's like, if you've driven through Zion, It's not easy to just zip over to
No,
whatever.
it was a good 6-hour drive.
Yeah, well, it was about 12 because we were stuck on the
Right.
freeway. That's when the freeway
Right.
washed out.
But I think there was a period of time, 2 or 3 months in there, where I could do all the shielding I wanted to, but I could not walk into the rock and mineral store because numerous reasons. One's the vibrations of some of the stones, the clashing of energy, if you will. Not that it was bad, but there was just a lot of it. You know, you're going to get energy off of a Shiva lingam, and that's going to be different
The
from a
who?
quartz. Shiva lingam is a stone found in India that is a very balancing stone. You have to buy 2 of them. But you're going to get very different energy off that
Didn't know that.
than you will a quartz.
Well, I knew about that because I
Right.
work with stones. I work with shamanic stones.
Right, you
a
do.
lot.
You
yeah,
do.
yeah.
So yeah, and I've been sensitive to the rocks and the minerals since I was a little kid.
So that means you're empathetic.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to be a rock.
You know, I'm a rock concert. I have rock concerts all the time.
I've noticed in drum circles. I have.
Actually, from Well of the Moon, I bought a ton of rocks
Oh, I did
before
too.
she left.
I did
before she
too. It was
closed.
like a heyday.
Yeah,
you
it was.
know?
Yeah,
it
it was a
great.
playground. Absolutely.
Actually, I bought a drum.
You
And
did.
it called my name. Of course, it helped with Jay McGuire standing there going, yeah, it's you know.
Right, the drum is speaking. So,
Yeah.
so this is another aspect I wanted to get into was how empathy can affect your health. Now, you do energy work. So, how many times when you've cut cords or in the process of your energy healing have you found that it's just somebody else's energy and that person's problem has gone away?
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But it can also, a lot of the ancestral work comes in that way too.
Yes.
Are you a shamanic
Because
healer
it's
also?
The ancestral stuff that has come through, but it's still just energy.
Yeah.
But it's still somebody else's.
Exactly.
So she just asked, I don't know if you could hear her, she just asked you if you were a shamanic healer as well, Diane.
No.
You can do
That's the simple answer.
yeah, you can do ancestral work without being a shamanic
do,
healer.
yeah.
Shamanic healers, we're
yeah.
noted because one of the things that defines us is that we tend to work with healing the spirit, whether it's on this side or that side. And when we go to help heal a spirit on the other side, we are going there ourselves.
Right.
That's what's definitive about. Where you can do ancestral work here and you can help heal the spirit on the other side, but you have to know how to cross that veil. You have to, and do it in a safe way.
Right. You got that lesson recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I am certified in both in body talk and AcuNet, and both
Right.
of those
okay.
Right.
cover those things in a different way than
Right.
shamanic.
Yeah. Shamanic,
Areas.
we actually go into an altered state
Okay.
to go across the other side.
And I think that's a really important difference to
it is a
highlight.
very difference,
Yeah.
an important difference to highlight,
Yeah.
and it's a calling. Like
Yes.
everything is a calling, but it is
Yeah.
a path that we walk, and it's called the path of the wounded healer, which brings
Yeah.
up
Right.
the empathy, because many times the people that are drawn to me or spirit brings to me to work with, they're not only bringing me for their work but for my own,
Right.
looking at my own issues.
Mirror.
Mirror, it's a
Right.
mirror,
Yeah.
and there's, and I've noticed that there are certain things that come in waves. Like I'll end up doing, it'll be a week of soul retrievals, it'll be a work of extraction work, it'll be a little compassionate depossession thrown in, it'll be like that.
Right.
So I think for
Well, and
healers, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that's where your compassion comes in hugely, because compassion is also a reverence for all of life experiences.
Including
Yes.
and
Being able to
reverence for
honor all
ourselves.
of them.
I'd
Yeah.
say, you know
Yeah.
what? That was so important. Can you say that again?
Right.
Compassion being a reverence for all of life's experience,
Yeah.
Right.
the bad, the good, all of it.
And I think that brings up an important point, that if you want to find out where you are on your healing path, when you get to a place where you can look back at your life and see that everything that happened was absolutely perfect and in its important time, and it was for your healing.
And also, in my experience,
Yeah.
compassion leads to non-judgment.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yes.
If it was easy, everybody would do
Yeah,
it.
that's a tough one
But
because
it leads to being able to see where somebody is on their path and say, "Oh, okay, I understand the lesson they're learning."
instead of you piss me off.
Right. Which is, but to me, that's where if you're understanding where somebody is on their path and what lesson they're learning, you are detaching
Right.
with
Healthy
compassion.
detachment.
Right.
Yeah, detaching with
Right.
compassion and using that compassion to say, okay, I understand, I have been there, done that. And that is
Yes.
very different from sympathy.
That is very different.
Right. Yes. And being able to honor them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even in the mess, even in the chaos,
Right.
to recognize that this is something, this is what they are going through, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. That last phrase, and that's okay. Because a lot of
Yeah.
times what I have found is people need permission to heal. They need to give themselves permission to heal. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll look outside. They will look to a healer, a life coach, or
Right.
shamanic
And
healer
it comes
or whatever.
in many
It
forms.
does, yes. Because eventually what happens is if they're holding on to the depression or the anger, they finally figured out that holding on to that makes them physically tired.
Right.
And so and it goes back to again what you were saying in the drum circle, you let go of that anger and you bring in that happiness. Happiness is much more motivating.
Well, you've created space for happiness to come in at the
Exactly.
very least.
Yes. Yes.
So, well, Diane, we just have a couple minutes, and then we're going to let you go. I'm really thrilled that you called in today. You and
Yes.
I had such a great lunch that last time you were here in Las Vegas.
I want to meet you next time, Diane. Send me your friend request.
All right. Thank you. I'm
Okay.
excited. I appreciate that.
And I'm excited for your
letting
book.
me talk.
So, and for everybody to know, Diane Berry lives in, where do you live, Diane?
Brush Prairie, Washington.
Right, which is just around the corner from
where
Battleground,
where
Washington.
you grew up,
Yeah,
right?
we
Right.
both went to
Battleground,
school.
yeah.
Yep.
And where do you hold your class?
It will be here in Vancouver, depending on how many people. I don't have an actual venue at this point. We'll
Okay.
know more when I get.
Well,
And so
signing up.
people understand who are listening, that is Vancouver, Washington, not Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver, Washington is right
Right.
across the river from
Vancouver,
Portland,
Washington.
Oregon.
Yep. Then
Right.
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah,
There you go.
Southwest
So-
Washington.
Pacific Northwest.
So
Yeah.
we wish you a lot of success with your book, and I for one am very glad that you're writing it and that it's getting published. I'm very
Thank
excited.
Yeah, so let's
Thank
give
you.
you a plug for that.
Yeah.
And so if they wanted to get a hold of you, Diane, do you have a phone number you'd like to give out?
Okay, you broke up.
If you have
Thank
if people want to get a hold of you and ask you questions about this, what phone number would you like to give out?
I would give out my email right now.
Okay, that's
It's-
fine.
ICARE.Berry, BERRY, @gmail.com.
So
Or they
and
can
say
look
that
on my
again.
web-
It cut out one more time. Say the email again.
ICare.Berry @gmail.com.
So that's
Perfect.
ICARE.Berry.
Uh-huh.
Okay, at gmail.com.
Gmail.
So
And the
that's-
website
yes.
and the website is,
DianeBerry.com.
and it's
Perfect.
Diane with 2 N's. Okay.
Right.
And if
Yeah,
anybody has any
yes.
questions out there, they can always call into All Talk, or they can contact Jane and I. Especially if you're on Facebook, you can go to Soul Chat.
Yep, you can go to Soul Chat and contact Diane there. She is on there, and interact with her, possibly check out her website.
Yep.
And you can listen to the show, and the next time you listen to the show, you can get a pen and paper.
We're not going to give it to them. They'll find a pen
They
and
will
paper.
find a pen and paper,
Yeah.
and they will write it down.
Yeah.
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 take
So,
notes.
gee, Diane, it was really great to hear your voice again.
Yes. Yes. And thank you for
letting
calling
me
in.
come.
Oh, not a problem.
Alright.
Wonderful
Not a problem.
guest. We really appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Have a good one, you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. So that was a wonderful treat.
Yeah, it was.
And so let's think now, we have to do a little bit of a wrap up. What kind of techniques would you give to someone to do some shielding or protection work for those that have empathy?
Well, my way of, as you know, is for people to expand their inner light.
Yes.
So what I do is ask them to go in the backside of their heart, close their eyes, take a deep breath. Usually 3 deep breaths takes that much to clear. And go down and go into the backside of your heart. There's a small opening that they call the tiny space. And inside is the spark that is connected to
We
God.
call that the soul. Yeah.
Well, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. Yeah. But it's, and step in, go through that little space,
Mhm.
step into that spark, and just imagine stepping into it and letting it fill your body, and then let it fill the room, and let it fill, and
Mhm.
go out in the world that way.
Right.
And I believe in that more than I believe in putting up walls and protections and that kind of thing. And I think it's easier for people to do.
And I think I have a couple of different techniques. It's kind of similar to yours. Focus on your heart
Mhm.
and go into gratitude, and thank your physical heart for giving you, another day, a cup of coffee.
I thank mine for beating so I don't have to
For-
think about
There
it.
you go. Whatever it
Yeah.
is in your life, be grateful. You don't have to be grateful for the big
Mm-mm.
stuff. Be grateful for the little things, and then tell your heart how much you love it.
Mhm.
And what's going to happen then, like you said, it's going to expand, and you allow that energy. You imagine it outside of your body, and you stay in that. Another popular technique, and this is one that was actually given to me, is to imagine yourself surrounded by the color gold, which is the color of compassion, and not in a bubble, but like on your skin. So
Mhm. I've heard you say that
yeah.
before.
So if you're washing, you're taking a shower in the morning, you just say, okay, I'm going to put gold here. I'm going to put it here, and that's a very high vibration color. So that's a great way to shield yourself also. And I would say for those that are not sure about a belief system, look into the different belief systems and see what resonates with you. It's always okay to incorporate different things.
And
create
any
your
kind
own.
of self-healing, any
Yeah.
kind of self-work, even if it's just curious about something and finding
Mhm.
just the right book.
Step outside yourself.
Step outside yourself. Now,
Yeah.
there's something else that I do shamanically. If it's a day where I can tell my energy is not up, stay home.
Exactly. Honor that energy.
Honor that. It's called being in the
Yeah.
moment and being in contact with your innermost self. If there's, I had a day a couple of days ago
Yes, you did.
where it was not a good day, and I was asked, I was supposed to go to someone's home, and I was supposed to do a house clearing that
Mhm.
was had the bearings of
Right.
being
That's tomorrow
a
night.
little bit difficult, and instead we're going to do it tomorrow
Tomorrow,
night.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we got 5 minutes. So, and I could tell, and I've done this. I'm the kind that I'll say, well, I can push through anything.
Yes,
right?
you've done that
and,
before.
And Jane's watched me. She's helped put me back together when I do that. If you're not having a good day, be gentle with yourself.
Mhm.
You know, if you don't want to go to that cocktail party, and you don't have to, you can stay home. And if you know it's better for you not to.
And
you know?
and that is going back to, you can have compassion for yourself, but you first must have that compassion and that self-respect and that self-love to have it for others.
That's right. You can't have, if you don't have it for yourself, you can't have it for anybody
Right.
else.
Right.
You know?
And hence that's where sympathy comes in.
Well, it is. And I mean,
Right.
there are some people, you know, I mean, all of us, most of us, there are things in life that happen.
Mhm.
All of us have lost pets. All
Yep.
of us have grown up. All of us have had to let people go. I'm going to write an article for divorce.
Oh, she
Yeah,
contacted you.
she contacted
there
me
was
again,
some
and
good news
so
about that.
Only what I'm going to write on is about, and it's online
It's
now.
going to be on iTunes.
It's on iTunes, and it's going to
Yes.
be on Google.
Yes.
And and since I've been divorced twice, you know,
Right.
yeah, it's about divorce. But the way I'm going to write about it is from a shamanic perspective of
Yeah.
what is this really about? And for me, it's an initiation. It's a transformation. It's a door opening to take you someplace else.
Right. And I just recently went through one.
And you went through one.
So
right.
I don't know if raw is the right word. I'm just newer
Right.
to it than you are, and you've actually helped me through a lot of the guilt and the all that
Yep,
stuff.
and the mirror was
And-
amazing.
I'm
you
a
know,
great mirror.
the mirror was
So,
amazing.
But yeah, and she contacted me today. What we're talking about is a magazine that's going to go national, hopefully global, actually.
Well, Google and iTunes is
Yeah.
a good place to start.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to mention that, but yes, I've been asked to write an article for it
yeah.
also.
So she wants one, you know. So I got to start writing.
Right. Me too.
Thank goodness
Me
I got
too.
a little window of time here between rehearsals.
Very little.
So this Sunday I'm going to be at where am I going to be? Oh,
Are
Soul
you at
Sunday.
Soul Sunday?
I'm at Soul Sunday, 2900 South Valley View, and I'm going to do a shamanic healing circle doing a shamanic healing circle and how to go to the life tree of
And
life.
I've actually there's been some people that have come into Karmic Connections and expressed an interest in the shamanic healing and
Right.
actually walking down that path. So if you are in Clark County and you want to start on this path of learning how to journey and go to the World Tree, this is an excellent opportunity.
It is. It's a good place. It's by donation.
Yeah, it's
so
right, love
and
donation.
it's a love donation.
Yeah.
So you can come if you want. It's a good place to check it out.
Yeah.
So and other than that, I'm going to be in a Christmas show called Christmas with Liberace.
And I will be at Karma Connections.
Yeah, probably for the rest of your life.
I'll be working karmically places.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do intend on getting my meditations back public again, and
Yeah.
and bringing those. I think it's time.
Right,
And
it is.
and so I've been talking to Tracy about doing that, and it's also time for me to start teaching local intuition classes
Right.
again. And so I'll be doing that at Karma Connections, and you can reach me for a reading at 702-204-7750. That's also you can text. George is giving us the finger.
One finger.
It wasn't the middle one.
No, it wasn't the middle one. It was the
no.
pointer finger as the teacher
just
used
What
to
are we?
pointing, that's all.
Are we warming up for Maxwell?
Ah.
Yeah, but you got to start swearing an awful
Oh,
lot.
yeah, no,
no,
that
no,
ain't
no,
gonna
no.
happen.
If
That
you
was
haven't
fun.
had a chance to listen to the shit that irks me, it really is a fun show.
Yeah, it's called STEM.
Yeah, and we were on it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was quite a
It
night.
was
We had
a
a lot of fun. That
We did
night.
have a lot
Yeah.
of fun. So we
We
would
took it
invite-
out on him, and we took it out
Yeah.
on George,
and
it
we
was
would
great.
invite Maxwell to invite us back on.
Right, right.
So, but you.
I
can-
think we do better going there than him coming here.
I think so.
I think so.
So
yeah.
feel free to like our Soul Chat page on Facebook. Please feel free to suggest any topics
You can
want.
reach both of us on there
Yep.
if you want to go on there. And you can reach me at 702-308-8464.
And next week we have Coach Joan Burley on the show talking
Yeah.
about courage.
And forgiveness.
And forgiveness and
gratitude. And all
gratitude.
of that. So thanks to Diane Barry again. Everybody have a great week. Take care of yourself. Be gentle with yourself.
Be compassionate.
Yep.
Here I am, standing at the door, looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have